bright, it is dry, it's a little bit chilly, but otherwise perfect conditions. Is this the stage for Ulster to progress once more into the quarter-finals? Is this the moment Bath lay a trap? Kick-off gathered by Max Wright. Jamie Roberts has skedaddled off all of a sudden to the Stormers in Cape Town this week, so Wright will get an extended run. Jackson Willison will be alongside him today. Out in the black, of course, the European kit. And here's the first time we see Freddie Burns. To somebody who used to play in the Premiership, Will Addison, now very much part of Ireland's plans, and that's bouncing awkwardly between the two of them, and it needed to be claimed, and Bath claimed it. Beno Abano, testing the shoulders early on of Marcel Coetzee. Burns, once more we look to the quality of his control. Stockdale, that little chip over the top, the bounce of the ball just evades him, and Abano was there.
Well, he's really unlucky because Freddie Burns a little bit slow off the mark to read that kick, wasn't going to get there, just needed it to sit up in his hands.
This was taken by backpedaling Rob Balakoon, and here's the other Burns. Here's Burns Jr. Billy, maybe soon to be of Ireland. Brian O'Driscoll.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, it's a young man that has high hopes, I would imagine, over the course of the next 7 weeks or so in Ireland selection for the first time. We played very well for this Ulster team.
Bath hooker is Jack Walker. Early try against Quins to get them motoring, but Quins in the end had the last laugh. It's been a feature of this Ulster effort this season in Europe that they've not conceded a try in the opening 20 minutes. They tend to be quick out of the blocks, try scoring themselves, and Bath will be aware of that. And early on it is they who have possession, and again Abano hammering it up.
The game at the Rec, Bath started really brightly, played well, just couldn't take their opportunities. And Ulster were quick to capitalise on any mistakes.
Burns once more kicking, Wright chasing, Addison sweeping. Held onto by Hamer Webb. The ball was just a little bit loose and picked up by Geordie Murphy. One of those who did not get good news from Andy Farrell this week. He, for the time being, not part of Ireland's test plans, Six Nations plans. This man very much is. Scrum half John Cooney. That's a great ball for Balakoon to contest, and Hamer Webb was under a bit of pressure. Just the threat around the tight that Cooney offers, it's also the quality of kicks like this.
Yeah, it is. It's that part of that control play that we were talking about beforehand. Their ability to build themselves into the game, frustrate teams, put teams under massive pressure.
There's Gabe Hamer-Webb, fleet of foot. You may remember the try he scored just a minute or two into his Champions Cup debut against Ulster down at the Rec in November. Scored his second European try against Quins last Friday at the Stoop. Now first scrum.
Crouch! Binds! Set!
Cooney, and then McCloskey laying it off, and Burns quickly releasing Addison, who finds Stockdale, who again with that, well, we know what havoc that little chip can sometimes cause, but not just then.
Yeah, well, it's the addition of Robert Balakoon that comes in that adds that extra spice. You know, in a one-on-one race with Jacob Stockdale, apparently he can leave him for dead. So when you have a threat like that and the quality of passing that we've seen straight away, Bath were on the back foot, conceding 20 metres before the eventual concession of a line out.
See Stockdale's tactic as well. Just trying to drift to the outside and kick the ball back on the inside, pull the defence over, leave the ball in behind for his support.
McCloskey trucked it up, but McConaughey knocked him backwards, but still Ulster possession just outside the 22. Cooney to Burns, and he lays it off, well taken by Reedy, and Reedy engages Stockdale again.
Late switch of Billy Burns, very, very good at that. Just adding an extra number down that blind side.
Here's Jack McGrath. And Billy Burns, and laid out over the top by Marshall, and Baloucoune beautifully to find Addison. And Addison in the end shoved off the pitch by Hamer Webb, but a little bit of dexterity.
Yeah, it was. Again, the talent of Robert Baloucoune. We've talked about his wheels, but he's got some very nice soft hands as well. Lovely passing from Luke Marshall. Look at that one, deft touch, and Addison's got to come back in field, give his team the opportunity to recycle again and go through one or two more phases. When you put the pressure on, deep in the opposition's 22, the last thing you want to do is cuff up an easy line out. The coach's annoyance, that one, running into touch.
Rob Herring, a moment of some promise this. Taken in by Henderson, the captain, and now the drive comes. Tom O'Toole is helping out, leading the charge. The ball there for everyone to see, for Coetzee to pick up, and Coetzee strikes. They are becoming deadly from those driven line-outs, Ulster.
TMO's in to check. Be interesting to see where the line-out straight first, actually.
Nine. No, just calm down, please. Nine. Give me the ball, please.
Thank you, sure that there'll be no conversion taken while we have a chat with Patrick Delac, who's our TMO.
He'll definitely want to check whether the ball was knocked on, how it ended up on the floor.
Patrick, tu voulais qu'on regarde. You want to check about the potential knock-on by White? Is White?
Oui, tout à fait. Une perte de contrôle sur le ballon porté.
Okay, put the footage on the screen, please.
Just want to see how the ball ends up on the floor. Nice to drive over. Not sure that was straight, but they won't be looking at that. Excellent shift drive, but how does this ball end up? Well, there's a hand in there from Tom Ellis that strips it, so I think this will stand. Tom Ellis on the floor's right hand as he's going down. He pulls it. Actually, although he strips it, I just wonder whether the Ulster player tries to regather and then knocks it forward.
Les images, ça s'arrête pas à ça, Patrick, ce que vous avez?
Ouais, il n'y a que ça.
D'accord, en fait, on va pas clairement le porteur de balle perdre le ballon vers l'avant. Dans ce que je perçois, je vois après le ballon qui est touché par le
ball carrier has lost it going forward, he says.
I think that's the right decision.
My view, it's not clear and obvious knock on by White. It's not clear lost the ball forward. He wants to try score. Donc pour moi, c'est pas un clair en avant, le clair perte le contrôle vers l'avant, c'est un essai pour moi. Tout le monde est d'accord?
Multilingual. Whatever language, the same answer. Ulster try.
I think because he'd given the on-field decision of a try, he couldn't find any evidence in his mind that it had definitely gone forward. That's the decision. I do think, though, that Tom Ellis might be a little bit frustrated. It wasn't a clear rip. Ulster tried to hold on to the ball. Not the start Bath wanted.
Ulster battling away with Claremont right now for control of Paul 3 to top it. Claremont kicked off in southwest London against Quins at the Stoop at the same time, and there's been a score there. We'll be going to Brian in a moment. Let's see this conversion first, however. $7-0, Ulster ahead. What about at the Stoop?
Yeah, it's all action at the Stoop. We've actually had a couple of tries. First one early to Claremont, and then straight away Quins come back with a set piece, and that man that's in form, Alex Dunbrand, lovely offload to Northmore, and scores are level at 7-all.
We will of course be keeping a very beady eye on that one over the next couple of hours. What happens there will impact totally on what Ulster are up to in the spring. If Ulster are up to anything, they've got to win this one first, or at least get something from it. It's not gathered cleanly by Homer. Here goes a bar now.
Stay back.
To see those two combining Abano and Stewart as ball carriers, one after the other. They're both very formidable unit in the scrum. That kick's not quite up to standard. They're both very good in the scrum, and both making an impact around the field.
Yeah, it's an interesting tactic from Bath. They're not afraid to go to the boot. That's about the fourth or fifth time that Freddie Burns has kicked for territory. I suppose it says an awful lot about that Ulster defensive line, not having too many in the backfield. He feels as though he needs to keep them honest, isolating Addison and trying to pick the corners, build a team into the game.
Well, I'm not sure whether any of you at home have got a sweep on how many times we'll throw this little graphic in over the course of the weekend, but here's another one, and that's where we stand at the moment. Clermont drawing at the Stoop, Ulster ahead here.
Yeah, there's an awful lot to play out yet, and not only this game, but over the course of the whole weekend. As things stand, you would imagine that 22 points would get you qualified in 5th position out of 5 pools, and so you'd have to go away for your quarter-final.
It's Tom O'Toole back on his feet, nearing the end of, I guess, one of the weeks of his young life, Brian. First Six Nations call-up. Do you remember that moment, the first time you saw your name on a Six Nations squad sheet?
Yeah, I do. It came out of absolutely nowhere.
It would have been 5 nations back then, wouldn't it?
It was the first year that Italy were brought in, but they weren't included. It was almost their tester year back in 1999.
So you were that old?
I sat on the bench. I didn't get a game that day, but thankfully I didn't have too long to wait. I managed to get capped in the summer. But what a shock that felt like, and how exciting to be thrown into a situation that you just don't feel as though you warrant, makes it all the more special.
He did all right in the end, Ben, didn't he? Kind of held his own.
Yeah, he was okay. He doesn't like to talk about it though.
Cooney to Burns, and there's McCloskey, again battering his way through. They're the kind of moves that have caught the eye for a long time. And Henderson lays it back for the scrum half, and Addison popping up, and this is Reedy. He and Geordie Murphy both overlooked for those opening Six Nations skirmishes. Not so Addison.
That's a brilliant turnover from Underhill. McCloskey setting the move off with some decent yards against Freddie Burns. Burns, you've got to get a decent shoulder shot on the thigh, really. He ends up almost trying to make a face tackle against the hip. Doesn't get enough power on it, and someone of McCloskey's strength just going to be able to direct you towards the floor. Use that leg drive to get through the arm tackle.
10 times. Keep on the line.
He's in the form of his life, and I know Brian's talked a lot about the things that he's added to his game, the kicking game, the offloading game. He's not just a big clatterer anymore.
No, he's not. I think the deftness of some of his passing over the course of the last number of months has been something that's definitely caught my eye, but unfortunately not in Andy Farrell's plans just now.
Burns, that's nicely done to Willison, who's brilliant at offloading, and here goes Homer, and now McCormick is chasing it, and Balakoon has come all the way in from the right wing to close things down on the left. The clearance was a little scruffy, but just about effective enough. Freddie Burns, and this is Matt Garvey. Willison playing again after a very long time away with an ankle injury. Willison. That's lost backwards, so on we go. Burns. First response is to try and find some space behind the back of Balakoon, and he will turn and does well to clear that away up to halfway. Homer brings it forward. No Anthony Watson today. Hurt his leg last Friday against Quins. We're hearing he could have played today, but it is Homer at fullback. And then Ollie Fox, first European start at scrum half.
Bath playing the percentages a bit, as Brian said, not afraid to kick it into the corner, but a really nice bit of play from Willinson against his opposite number. Just watch how he drifts on, sees Luke Marshall coming out of the line, just drifts on the pass, gets round him, forces the outside man, Stockdale, to step in on him and creates that little bit of an overlap on the outside, and the pressure's good. Bath just turning the screw slightly, and that's even more pressure.
Working really well. It was Tom Ellis at the front to burgle back ball, and Jack Walker can bring it forward. Fox just pops it up for Abano.
Stay back.
Fox. Here's the other prop, Will Stewart. And this is Charlie Ewells, the captain. Burns to Max Wright. Jonathan Joseph amongst those missing today. Wright at 12, Willison at 13. Will Stewart's 3. And Burns, and now Josh Bayliss. Both running without Talupe Falatau and Francois Lowe. And then again, Willison just testing that defence. He's having to work hard to wrestle that back, but it's a penalty against Henderson. Didn't release on the floor in the tackle. Ewells, Burns slipping through, but slipping through effectively. Fox lays it up for Walker. Homer sorting out the attack. Right, McConaughey. Oh, that was brilliantly read by the fullback Addison. He's taken a bit of a clatter to the head. He is down for the time being, and Underhill looking to exploit that shorter blind side. Stockdale was there anyway.
No advantage. Not clear with
Addison's got a blood injury, actually, struggling at the back.
Something that a smart 10 will be able to identify, try and isolate him as he's out on the touchline. Potentially a cross-field kick on.
For the time being, Bath are happy to give it a blast with the big hammers. Will Stewart was the latest. Abano folding back round to have his muscle here.
Ulster defence frantically calling. They feel as though there's numbers down. They've come hard.
Fox, Burns, Willison held on to by O'Toole, stripped away.
Captain, 2 option. No wheels by 5 and 15 meters here. Yeah. Or in 15 meters here, no clear wheels by 12. 15 and 15 meters is fine. Captain option, please. This way.
Oh, there you go.
Come back, you see. Here.
The back seemingly winning the debate with the big
Number
captain.
5.
No, he was asking which area was the easier kick for him.
Time is off.
Time
is off, please.
To go for the points. He was offered a penalty on either side of the sticks. Freddie Burns saying, "Oh, can't we kick it to the corner?" He said, "No points. Bath just want the win."
Craig Gilroy on to replace Will Addison, who's headed off to have that blood patched up. This is how he hurt himself.
It's just the elbow of McConaughey, isn't it? On the side of his head.
Okay, time back on, please. Time back on. Yeah, short post, please. Keep the line.
Pulled up with what in the end turned out to be a minor calf problem in Claremont last weekend. Addison fit to start today, but he's headed off temporarily. Brian?
Yeah, I'm sure during the week the boys, he was nicknamed Lazarus Monday, Tuesday. The recovery, anytime you've gone off after 25, 35 minutes and you're able to play the next week, never reflects well on you, and rightly so.
That's one that Freddie Burns would like to have again as well. He had the choice of left or right of the posts. Remains 7-0.
A little bit repeat of the game at the Rec. Oh, good phases in the game, not able to take the points when they were on offer. Ulster the opposite, 1 shot, 1 try.
McConaughey with the carry. And again, Freddie Burns' first instinct at the moment is to kick. Bath just keen to pressurise where they can on or around the 22.
No, stay back.
Billy Burns on the floor, just easing it back on the white side. Cooney telling Reedy that he's not needed.
Use it! Wait a minute.
Hamerweb, still a teenager, only 19. Fox to Burns and Stewart. Proved to be one of the more astute signings of the season so far. Pitched up from Wasps. Burns
I don't want so that.
Stockdale sizing up a narrow angle. Homer. Burns to his left. Homer looking to make it to halfway. Manages it. Marshall was up quickly on Fox, but the ball still belongs to Ellis. Now Jack Walker, the hooker. Ewells. Back after a couple of months out with a knee injury. Willison. Ulster's defence will need to be on red alert whenever Willison has the ball, Brian. He's got beautiful control in midfield.
Yeah, he looks like a bright spark in the attacking game of Bath. Ulster coughing up a penalty.
Too slow away. You prevent the contest by Bath's team. You prevent the contest.
Yeah, frustrating. Yeah, the penalty's obviously not against Ian Henderson. He was legal, but Jordy Murphy hadn't rolled away to allow Bath to have a clear attempt at clearing that Ian Henderson obstacle, and that's why referee Ruiz is giving the penalty to Bath.
And you prevent a good contest by Bath supports.
Fight in the ground there. You leave your legs in, obstruct an angle coming into that ruck, and it makes an easy decision for the referee.
Just outside the 22. Walker to the front to Ellis. Fresh from agreeing a new 2-year deal this week, and now organising this attacking maul. Ulster looking to the touchline, but Bath pulling away from it with Walker again. And then Hamer Webb comes in to create what protection he can. Garvey. Once more, Jackson Willison. He's back recently as well from 3 months out with injury. Ewells, Burns, all a little bit tight, but Hamer Webb did well to gather the ball. However, Balakoon was on him quickly. Balakoon has started well. Beno Abano, not for long, and then Burns looking for McConaughey. The bounce of the ball might work for McConaughey.
It's been a really good passage of play for Bath. They've been able to get the balance right of forwards crashing into contact, but then still going to the line on the next occasion and pulling it back to Freddie Burns. That has the effect of shortening the defensive line. So their defence is very narrow, crossfield kick. You've got a man who started on the wing in Stockdale, now playing in that full-back position. Gilroy slotted into the left wing, and he just slightly too narrow in behind his forwards. Interest from the home crowd to see whether this was put down properly, but the referee's happy with it.
Oh, that's good. I think it's more in hope than anything else. Yeah, that's a really good score. As you said, Ben, the second pass from Abano was the one that sucked Gilroy up, and that's what isolated Stockdale in the backfield, and as soon as you let the ball bounce, you run the risk.
Try apiece. 7 points apiece, approaching the midway point of the first half.
Bright, something that they've been working on. There's the Abano pass. Charlie Ewells did a very, very similar one earlier on, and they are getting that because they're a threat to carry the ball. They're going right to the line before they pull it back. You have to bite in and start to tackle them, and that means that the players outside, you can't get on their bike and defend with wit.
This is right. Walker. Bath have got Ross Batty on the bench today. No Tom Dunn. Freddie Burns to Stockdale. He runs into Matt Garvey. McGrath. Reedy. Billy Burns. Homer running towards it and takes it well. Murphy was up with him, but it's Bath ball. Walker, Willison, Ewells. This is Will Stewart. And again, Burns decides it's time to challenge aerially. Stockdale got some help from Billy Burns there. He shepherded McConaughey well.
Yeah, he did a good job. As we see Ulster now on the counter again.
Now he goes, ball in hand, and this is... Oh, Coetzee gave the dummy, and now he pins his ears back, and at that point the moment had gone. Craig Gilroy, full of frustration.
He's incensed, and every reason to be. To the referee rules.
Cooney's just asking for it to be checked. He felt he was taken out as a support runner.
Your attitude now. I play with you today, just respect a little bit. Happy? Line out.
Cooney felt he was pushed. It's a lovely little break. So often the cover on the inside slower to react than the support. You can see. Now where's Cooney? Just there. There's the push. It's a clear push. And he would have been on his right-hand side, perhaps.
I don't see that. Thank you.
Alex.
Well, Ulster came to regret a blown overlap in Claremont last weekend. They've just blown one there.
Well, listen, I think we're going to get a TMO decision here, because there's every reason John Cooney should be annoyed by that one. He's clearly been taken out. The question is what the outcome will be.
It's definitely a yellow card. Is there any other support, or has the support already overrun Cooney?
The fact that Coetzee doesn't really look there again.
So I think he beats Burns back on the inside. If that pass goes, if he stays on his feet, he's already passed Ellis. If he stays on his feet, he beats Burns. There's a case for a penalty try here.
Well, if you look though, Coetzee has looked once, but then Cooney's an option, but then he doesn't look again at him. So does that come into?
Let's have a listen to the referee.
Yes, good footage. Yeah. So I have a decision. I have a decision. Please. Captain, please. I have a decision. So for my view, it's a full play by 6 Bass, because he pushed the player without the ball. So for me, it's penalty and yellow card. It's not penalty try because too many defenders by Bass team come back to defend the Ulster player. So it's yellow card and penalty. Happy? Anyone?
Attends. Est-ce que vous pensez pas que c'est... Je veux pas vous mettre dans le...
Allez, Cédric, il faut aller vite.
Oui, mais est-ce que vous pensez pas que c'est le 9 qui change sa course?
Non.
C'est le 9 qui change sa course, sur le plan large.
I think, is that Patrick Delac saying that the number 9 changed his line of running? He's suggesting...
He's allowed to change.
Well, I'm merely the translator, Benjamin. Don't shout at me.
John Cooney's only looking for a try. He's not looking to do anything else except to try and put himself in a position
oui,
to...
Oui, si pousse, mais le 9 change sa course. C'est d'accord.
Rien de clair évident pour changement de course. Rien de clair.
That's the conversation they're having at the moment.
Donc pour moi, c'est rien de clair évident pour le changement de glide pour bloquer un joueur. Pour moi, c'est pénalité carton jaune.
Complètement d'accord.
Ok, captain, please. Parfait.
We are now all in agreement.
Please. After a review, our decision is clear. It's not cynical change. It's a cynical infringement by 6 Bass, okay? Because it's not clear change line by 9. Just please listen, Captain. I understand your opinion, so listen to me, please. Listen to me. So for my view, it's clear full play because it's push the player without the ball. It's not prevent a try because many defender by Bass player. So for me, it's yellow card and penalty against 6 Bass. Number 6, please.
Well, it took some time to get there, but Tom Ellis will see yellow.
I don't entirely know why they're talking about the 9 change in the line. That has no bearing on anything. He's looking to put himself in a better position to try and score the try. He doesn't look where the defender is. And even if he did, he's entitled to run whatever line he likes as a support player.
Who's the player who's out the ball? And silicon infringement.
And at the end of all that, Ulster, who probably ought to have scored a try anyway, will get another opportunity. 5 metres short of the try line.
Keep the line, please.
Gathered in by O'Connor. Oh, it wasn't straight.
The call came in
Option, captain, please.
by the Bath players, but they're absolutely right.
Option.
I don't think their first try, the throw, was particularly straight.
Scrum. Merci, Cédric. Bass ball. C'est marqué. Could you have the mark, please? It's big one, no?
Bath's first scrum. With Stewart and Abano, they have been picking up some penalties. They would love one here, just to clear their lines, give themselves the throw. Now the ball's at number 8's feet, so they call. Brilliantly worked. Definite tactic. They would have seen the struggles that Ulster had against Claremont last week at the scrum. They waited and waited until the ball was safely at Josh Bayliss's feet. And then you heard the call come on, the snap drive. Penalty 1. Job done for the front row.
It's the hard work on the training pitch. Down at Farley, Neil Hatley, the forwards coach these days. Ben Mark-Lilly as well, adding his tuppence worth, leading to moments like this.
You just see everyone stable, Ulster attacking them, but as soon as the ball's there, the snap, and Ulster just folding.
No, don't close! Don't close
Moved
in!
out of his England tracksuit, back into a Bath one alongside Stuart Hooper. Line out, snapped in, gathered by Ewells. Incidentally, Will Addison is back with us. He's wearing a white crash helmet these days, so he's easy to pick out, just protecting that cut. There he is. And that's gone straight out on the full as well.
It's a big error, that, because Bath have kicked a lot in this game, but all the kicks, they've waited until the forwards have got them on the front foot, which has given them time.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
There's no real pressure on in there, just hooks it straight into touch.
Thank you, sir. Please?
I've been impressed with the Bath forwards at how they've given Freddie Burns, this time Ollie Fox, the ball on a platter to kick with.
O'Connor up highest, Herring. Walker made sure there was no further movement. Now could see it, perhaps fired by that blown opportunity of a minute or two ago. And McCloskey and Burns over the top of the head of Addison on the bounce to Balakoon.
Yeah, they created a little opening, just the quality of pass from Billy Burns. Wasn't out in front of Robert Balakoon. He had to reach back for it and just slowed the play down. Have to build phases again to get some momentum, get key individuals into the important positions.
Oh, and then Addison has lost it forward again. That pass just a little bit behind him.
It's just the accuracy for Ulster. It's a brilliant move that drags Willison in. Just watch Willison bite in on the outside. They create the overlap around the corner. But just the quality of the pass, not quite there. Balakoon, not really on his bike. He was fairly stationary. Maybe that was what threw Billy Burns.
Fairness to Burns in that circumstance, it was all of a 20-metre pass. You know, we've given hundreds of seconds to throw it.
Time off, please.
I just think you sometimes want the player on the outside to make the decision for you and show the line he's on, so you can instantly see what pass you're throwing, rather than as you catch it thinking, well, what's he actually doing?
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Just got a little bit of, is it blood that needs to be attended to? Tom O'Toole leaving us, and this is Ross Kane. First time we've seen him in Europe this season. We've seen an awful lot of him in the Pro 14 either, so an opportunity to stretch his legs on the tight head side of the scrum. Oh, that looks more permanent than a blood injury. We're going to find out what the reason for that change is, but well, that might be significant with Tom O'Toole due to fly out with Ireland, Portugal next week.
I'm sure there'll be a couple of Munster tight heads that will be watching on with interest to see what the outcome of that is.
Well, interestingly, we're being told from the touchline that it's a tactical decision. Dan McFarlane saying it's a tactical decision to make that change. They clearly feel there's a little bit of pressure coming through from Beno Abano, so they brought Ross Kane on to try and stem that pressure.
It's interesting, isn't it? You've got 3 scrums in, given away 1 penalty on their ball, but haven't really given him a shot to rectify it if it purely is tactical.
There's been another try at the stoop in this Pool 3, Quins against Claremont. Brian is poised to break the news once we see what happens with this scrum.
Bind! Set!
Ulster trying to put the shove on. Gathered by Bayliss at the base and then walloped away. And under his new hat, Addison.
Away!
Freddie Burns.
Away! 8!
Stockdale.
Away.
Josh Bayliss has done well to slow that ball down. Billy Burns, Addison, McCloskey not employed. Again on the bounce to Balakoon. Reedy laid up for Herring. Cooney. Burns. Walker got back. Stockdale. He's got Coetzee to his left-hand side. And again, it's Bayliss over the ball. And Conrad took that huge hit from Underhill, but the ball had gone.
He's doubled up with Abano, who is a very, very destructive tackler. Two of the best hard-hitting tacklers in the Premiership at the moment.
Stockdale, Addison into the stands, and we can head to the stoop. Brian, what's going on?
Yeah, it's another try for Claremont. It comes after initially Abendon being held up, and this time it's Naisalevu getting in for an all-important 5-pointer, and they're just beginning to build that lead. Just have a look to see if they've knocked over the conversion. It is a 17-7.
So let's see what that does to the top of Pool 3. It's between Claremont and Ulster. It's all about home quarter-finals, this, and at the moment Claremont qualifying and Ulster as well with 19. Even if it stays this way, Brian, it's almost impossible to imagine them not qualifying as one of the best runners up on 19.
No, and with the knowledge that Gloucester have to go to Toulouse tomorrow, and they'll have to get all 5 points to get themselves to 19 points, which will be a particularly difficult task. So 19 points, you would imagine, will certainly be enough as a best runner-up.
Ulster might need no reminding that they mustered 18 points back in 2016, finishing second. They actually failed to get one of the best runners-up tickets that day. We will see. So much to develop over the next 24 hours. Jack Walker's fine. He took a little time out for an injury, but he's ready to start this line out.
Bath been using that driving set up straight off the maul. This time Ulster really strong defensively, marching them backwards.
Right. Forced backwards by Coetzee.
Bath very slow out of that maul. Forwards are taking a while to get around the corner, and a slow phase allowing that Ulster defence to set and get off that line nice and hard, forcing Bath into a kick game again.
Stockdale again. How well he gets out of the tiniest of boxes sometimes. Addison. McCloskey up in support, needed. Balakoon to his right. Marshall a little bit further across. Cooney, and this is Reedy. However, not enough room. Brian, another score?
Another score. I'll tell you what, Quins aren't going to lie down here. They're going to make a game of this. Alex Dunbrant, man of the moment. Again, line-out drive. Great set piece. And drove over from 10 out. So, scores 17-12 with conversion pending.
Final 10 minutes of the first half. Try piece. Marcel Coetzee, firstly for Ulster. Rory McConaughey to draw things level for Bath. Ulster probably ought to have had a second, but they didn't convert it. For the time being, we remain level. Freddie Burns.
Stop free in front. Thank you.
Addison. For some space again over the head of Balakoon, who had backpedaled to make sure there was none. Burns, Addison, Stockdale, McCloskey just beyond him, and then there's Marshall galloping away as well. McConaughey just not quite strong enough.
Does so well to stay in field. McCloskey's hit high. A big shot coming in from Obama.
Taking out Ross Kane, but not Ulster possession, although that very nearly was, but Coetzee doing just enough to spin away from the threat. Burns, Marshall. Cooney. Where's he off to? Ross Kane, lofted into the arms of Coetzee again, who engages Yules.
Bath narrow on this side if Ulster can get the ball quickly.
Addison on Stockdale again to McCloskey, and once more they try and drive McCloskey off the dining table. It's not easy. Kane. The physicality of it all at the moment. Oh, and ball went forwards. Ricocheted as Coetzee tried something cute.
Well, you just got to... Just because you think it's on, if you haven't communicated to the guy outside you, he's going to be thinking, here's a man who's going to carry, I'm going to latch onto him. And then suddenly you try the miracle pass.
Difficult to come from a tip-on position, charging onto the ball, waiting for the big collision, and then all of a sudden these soft hands, maybe in this case maybe not so soft. Guilty parties. Coetzee and Henderson is ready right in their faces.
Going to drag him through the contact, isn't he? You know, it's fine to do that, but just let me know before you do it.
Hearing, by the way, that Tom O'Toole was in fact injured, so it wasn't a tactical change. They've handed in a different card. So Ross Kane was on for an injury to Tom O'Toole. He and Andy Farrell will hope that it's not the kind of Six Nations rubbing out injury. A reminder that if you'd rather watch Quins Claremont, that's across on BT Sport 3 at the moment. Once we're done here, we're off to Exeter. The Chiefs racing away with Pool 2, concluding business at home to La Rochelle. Meantime, at the AJ Bell, Sale, Glasgow. The Warriors still in quarter-final contention, potentially as one of the best runners-up. More games tomorrow. Huge game at Allianz Park at the end of another fairly seismic Saracens week. Defending champions against Racing, and we will definitely see Toulouse in April again. They play Gloucester tomorrow, who we might see in April as well. One of those still hoping for the last 8. Munster as well, and everything leading towards tonight. McGregor against the Cowboy. Conor McGregor against Donald Cerrone from Las Vegas on BT Sport box office.
We can go, please.
Bath just set up again, simple 3-3. Freddie Burns on the right-hand side. Jacob Stockdale has to make a decision now. He's got to look at the body shape of Freddie Burns and hedge his bets a little bit to see whether he's going to try and nudge one over his head. Can he drop back and catch it on the full? Goes out the other side.
Bayliss to Willison. And then the chase for Hamer Webb. Balakoon there with a little bit of help from Addison. Ball's loose. Picked up by Sean Reedy. An immense season, Reedy. One of those back rowers who does such a good job for Dan McFarlane. Almost McFarlane's prototype back rower. And Reedy just wiping his hands, waiting and wondering. It's looking more like the kick from Cooney, however. And it's a long one into the terrace.
A really good kick. Good pressure coming on for the charge down. The technique has to be really good. Gets it over Underhill's hands. Gets some serious distance as well. It's one that your forwards really appreciate your 9 when you can deliver something like that, take the pressure off you.
Ellis down quickly, Fox and Burns, and again Willison. Bright, busy Kiwi, try last weekend against Harlequins. He's re-engaging into this Bath midfield after some time away injured. Right, the other centre. Abano and Bayliss. Zach Mercer injured today. This is Will Stewart, I know one of those players, Ben, who's impressed you over the course of the season.
The scrummaging's been superb. He seems to be involved in the game even more around the field, which is what Eddie Jones will be looking at.
Balakoon hunting down space, hunting down the ball. Homer needs to be careful. And now he's got a little bit of work to do. Taken on by McCloskey. And again, the sanctuary of the terrace.
Yeah, I think it's a hopeful cheer from the Munster faithful, or the Ulster faithful, I should say. Great little kick from Cooney, sits up just on the try line, and Homer can't take the chance as to whether it's going to travel over. And that pass is okay, but it's not really okay. It's the quality of the kick from McConaughey. He hooks it, gives Ulster a great attacking line. It's just inside the Bath 22.
No, it's not clear knock-on for me. You kick on the ball, it touches the ball, it's not knock-on for my view. Maybe it's a mistake by me. Yeah, for me it's not knock-on. No, it's not clear for us.
That kick, by the way, from Homer to clear his lines was Bath's 23rd of the half. It gives a fairly graphic illustration of the way they're playing at the moment.
Listen, can't argue this. The scoreline 7-all, you know, there's still very much in this game, but you would have imagined a team that doesn't have a huge amount to play for other than building confidence, that would have wanted to put a number of phases together and maybe be less pragmatic and get after a victory and try and score some tries and build their confidence that way. But it's still very much a contest.
They'll be happy enough with the scoreline, that's for sure. There's some work to do here from a Bath perspective as Geordie Murphy and his mates carry it forward. Oh, and they've done the work. Starting to get a little bit frustrating, this for Ulster.
It is, and that's what they need, Bath need. And I think, you know, Stuart Hooper's probably thought, well, what can we get out of this game? Well, we're going to have to go some tough places in the Premiership. We can't get out of our group. Let's get the preparation right so that we know how to play when we're away from home. And just get some of that momentum back as we go into the next round of the Premiership. And part of that is frustrating the team that's at home that wants to play. And actually, Bath have played a bit, but they haven't overplayed. They've taken the points when they've been on offer. I think they've had a really successful half.
And they've ridden out the yellow card as well, the Tom Ellis yellow.
Yeah, they have. Would barely have noticed that he was off the field, and credit to them.
It's my fault. It's too quick. It's my fault, sorry.
Make it really interesting. If they come out, I think the first 10 minutes of the second half, crucial. If Bath can hold out here, they're going at 7-all, and then can start big in the second half. Ulster can't get a foothold into the game. Suddenly, there's going to be just a little bit of doubt creeping into some of the players' mind, that the fans will start to get a little bit twitchy. That'll transfer into the atmosphere, and the players will pick up on it, and suddenly it'll be a much harder place for Ulster to get out of, and Bath will just grow with confidence as that second half goes on. So important now that Bath do the job and see this out. Well, I think Stuart Hooper will be really happy with this first half.
Penalty drawn. Ross Kane, who's in a little bit of discomfort with the blood on his face, is being put through the ringer at the moment by that bloke, big Beno Abano.
It's a little bit of a concern at the moment, Ben. There's a couple of important scrum penalties at key positions.
It is, because that's confidence again, isn't it? You know, if they're thinking, God, we can't have any more scrums because we're going to get a penalty against us. It's just all these things that just add up to, well, what we were meant to be qualifying easily from this group, isn't it? Is it maybe not going to be our day today?
Half a minute to half-time. Jack Walker's throw. Picks up Yules, the skipper. Underhill peeled off the back, and then Fox engaging Max Wright. It's McCloskey in there. A little bit of legal shoe work to slow things down. Ollie Fox, first start after his first European appearance last weekend. Here's Homer. Brought to the floor by Marshall. Stewart. He and Kane in hand-to-hand combat. McCloskey was up very quickly, rolling out the simpler of the passes, and attempted kick from Ellis goes nowhere. A couple of blows on Alex Ruiz's whistle draws things to a conclusion. Bright Ulster start. Marcel Coetzee try converted by Cooney. Bright Bath response. Rory McConaughey's try converted by Freddie Burns. Half-time at the Kingspan. Ulster 7, Bath 7. Thank you. Yes, 3 quarter-final places remain up for grabs. The 5 who qualified this morning can look forward to April with security. Ulster amongst those still battling away to nail down one of the spots in April. And it's a big take gathered by Henderson. Cooney. Homer. Garvey. It's been lost on the floor. Burgle back, and Marshall can bring it away, and Murphy over the top. This one really needed some tidying up. Cooney. Marshall again just popping up and now rolling around to involve himself once more. Billy Burns. Here's Addison, and Balogun chase for the line, scores. Might be chasing all the way to the spring in the quarterfinals. Long way to go, but that is a strong Ulster start to the second half.
Yeah, a huge strike from Ulster within a couple of minutes of that half-time kickoff. Yeah, we saw signs of Robert Balogun in the first half. You see Burns identifying the shooter out of defence, and then Addison threw a dummy first of all, and then out the back door to the flyer Balogun, who gets into the corner. Great score, and what a beginning to the second half. Settle a few nerves that might have been in the bellies of Ulster players. The knowledge now that they can build on that and look for an all-important victory, though, to see them qualified for the knockout stages.
It's brilliant from Addison. You see he's wanting to throw that ball out of the back door before the first contact, but when he goes through, he still throws it. But that means that the defender coming over has to tackle him. He looks like a viable threat. His shoulders are square, he's facing the right way, and he just leaves it into the space. If he turns his shoulders slightly to throw the pass, he maybe makes the decision easier for the defender.
Manchester starts 14-7.
Huge credit here, Ben, to Billy Burns as well, who manages to run between the two defenders. He's the one that creates the ball or option for Aniston to run that line. Little show, and then he gives it second time. Great Ulster try. Exactly what they were after.
Stay on side. 9-6. Okay.
Balakoon again with a terrific win. A couple of big moments inside the first few minutes.
However, Bath have got it back again. Just some loose knots in midfield.
Yeah, I think Willison was just saying, was that a deliberate knock on? They were trying to pop the ball off the floor to Aled Brew, I think.
Yes, Aled Brew, who's come on at half-time for Max Wright. We were initially led to believe that young Tom de Glanville was on the bench and wearing the 23 shirt, but that is clearly Aled Brew, and he is with us for the second half. Charlie Ewell's getting some treatment. Just to underline the fact that Quins Claremont in this pool, in pool 3 across on BT Sport 3 at the moment, and then once we're done here in Belfast and in London, down to the English Southwest, Exeter top of pool 2 against La Rochelle, then to the AJ Bell as well, Sale against Glasgow. Warriors still hoping for one of those 3 remaining quarter-final spots as a best runner-up. More games tomorrow. Allianz Park, Saracens against Racing, who are already sure of their place in the last 8. So are Toulouse. Gloucester still hoping. Munster 2 there against Ospreys at Thomond Park. We will have that one. And if you are a night owl, then from 1 o'clock tonight we've got Conor McGregor against Donald Cerrone from Las Vegas. The Notorious against the Cowboy. Which of Brian would be the Notorious?
That's your household, isn't it?
There you go. Willison, and then Homer. Fox, Burns, Ewells. Ollie Fox again, he's only 20, right from Yorkshire Carnegie this season. Here's Josh Bayliss, in the absence of Falatau and Lowe today.
No, second man.
Luke Marshall just slowing things down. Fox eventually releases Ellis. 10 minutes in the cooler in the first half, but this time it's Ulster.
6 and 4, not winning away quickly, slow ball.
Sean Reedy and Alan O'Connor picked out by our referee, the Frenchman, Alexandre Ruiz.
Charlie Ewells, again, straight over to Freddie Burns. Don't you think about kicking that into touch. We want the posts. I'm going to take the points whenever they're on offer.
His kid brother Billy today resuming that back garden battle of old of their childhood. Freddie's the big brother, he's 4 years older. Keeps Bath still very much within punching distance. Ulster 14, Bath 10.
A well-worked penalty from Bath. Managed to hold on to the ball through a few phases and force Ulster into the air. And it's exactly what they need. They just need to build momentum. They haven't really created too many try-scoring opportunities. So maybe the winning of this game from their perspective is by eking out penalties and goal kicker to do it.
Addison. Kutsia with the advantage. Again, Bath conceding on the floor, not rolling away. Here goes Balakoon once more, putting his skates on. Jack McGrath, thrill of his recall to the Ireland squad this week. And McCloskey picking out Stockdale, and then Addison! Couple of tries in very quick succession.
Again, the speed of transfer across the field, taking out defenders, creating that 2-on-1 on the outside. And Addison this time, the man to benefit rather than being the provider. Good movement up front, decoy lines are good. Split tunnel ball goes between them. And just last man on the end, hanging. Can't get it back out on his feet. Peru there. Can't push the man early enough, and as soon as Freddie Burns is beaten, he's flat-footed. There's nothing he's going to be able to do to get to Addison.
I tell you, I think we've just seen why the Ulster faithful are so annoyed at Stuart McCloskey not getting into that Irish squad. It's definitely a part of his game that he's adapted brilliantly. It looks as though it was the short pass on and bang right across, caught McConaughey in no man's land, and he was the one that created that 2-on-1. Definitely something that maybe he was lacking in years gone by, but has really showed so much more potential in that area. Surely a lot of people thought it was worthy of an international call-up.
Well, this time Ulster 19, Bath 10, those 2 second-half tries. Balakoon and Addison. How close is he, Brian, to starting the Six Nations game against Scotland down at the Aviva in a couple of weeks?
Good question, Nick. I'm not entirely sure. I do feel as though Jordan Larmour probably is in pole position, but he can't be that far behind. The question is, can he just stay fit? He's had a long run of injuries. Hopefully he can get a good go at games and show more of that potential that we've seen in this Ulster jersey.
Still strange to see an Ireland squad without Rob Kearney in it, but it looks increasingly as if Addison and Larmour are the fullbacks for the future.
Stay back.
Taken on by Yules. Burns chips over the top, and that's picked up by the try scorer Addison. Billy Burns, a lot of space behind McConaughey. And McConaughey under pressure from Stockdale.
Trying to drag him into touch as well. He manages to place the ball, that's not gone into touch.
Excellent, Cedric.
Definitely think Ulster have had a bit of a talking to at half-time about their lack of line speed. They're verging on being offside, but everyone, you can see Cooney going there, everyone desperate to get off the line quickly, because Bath at times in the first half had some good forward momentum, and it was giving Freddie Burns too much time to control things different. You can see Freddie Burns there, although he's made a run, he's forced into doing something he doesn't necessarily want to by the speed of Ulster's defensive line.
Incidentally, with Ulster now chasing what would be a bonus point, they're looking a little bit more secure, but Clermont leading 23-12 currently at the Stoop, so they're bang on course to top the pool, but Ulster in very decent shape to pick up one of the losing runners-up spots as Ollie Fox clears away.
On the right situation, not pulling the player.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.
Cooney again engaging Burns. Freddie wasn't far away from nicking it off his brother. It was lost forward, and we're going to have a scrum.
It's not one for the moment.
Definitely realistic chance, I think, there to catch it. Do you know?
Billy.
Gets fired at him a bit.
Just the speed of that pass.
Billy,
Have a look at it again.
Just listen.
It hits his chest.
Listen, Billy. I can accept.
Yeah.
Just you talk to me,
Yeah, I appreciate
listen to me.
top of the shoulder.
On the field, I took the decision.
I think that's a penalty.
So I take on the field decision.
I don't think he's any hope at all of getting his hands on that. Like the speed at which it comes out, even if he does manage to bat it up in the air.
The fact that he bats it up,
Yes.
probably helps him, doesn't he? But
15 off.
Ulster changes. Will Addison heads off. Craig Gilroy now on for keeps. Next time we see Addison, he may well be in the island green in the Six Nations.
I wonder, is that them being mindful of last week's injury? Usually in around the hour mark is where it starts taking its toll. Get those soft tissue injuries, little niggles, and just weighing on the side of caution with one view and hopefully getting more Ireland caps in this year's Six Nations.
Staff change as well. Mike Williams on into the back row for Josh Bayliss.
Set.
Cooney. And now Burns. Oh, and then Stockdale lost it. He was looking ahead to potential glory before he gathered the ball.
Alex, sur la mêlée précédente, le gaucher blanc a perdu sa liaison.
Fast movement down that line. You can see that Bath are assault to turn their backs and start corner flagging, going back towards their own line, but just inaccurate.
Keep a bind, yeah? My assistant stay here, just keep a bind.
Actually,
don't use the grind, just push after. Yeah, I understand, it's fine. Body was out.
scored a try here against Munster in the Pro 14 a couple of weeks ago that extraordinarily ended a run of 51 weeks without a try for his province. It was hard to believe when I saw that, but scoring again he was, although he remains scoreless today.
Keep a long bind, sir.
And Josh McNally on for Matt Garvey.
It's not got by white.
Ross Batty replacing Jack Walker in the middle of the front row.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
It's a decent Bath scrum. Ulster concertina.
Three penalties.
Number one, change the angle under the
It's a
pressure.
concern
Number one.
for Ulster moving forward in the tournament. New man, a new combination on that far side. Nixon and Batty, a mistouch.
So Stockdale can bring it away. Do what he can to get underneath that kick that's hoisted in field, and it went forward. Only just, but it did go forward, and Ruiz picked it up.
Oh, that was very unlucky. I tell you, it was a top-class Gary Owen. When he followed up by a brilliant chase, he'd only eyes for the ball.
7, please. 1 off, please.
Just enough, was it from Tom Homer? No, it's Fox in the backfield come in, just gave him a bit of a nudge. And that was the difference between the ball spilling forward. It's beginning to start getting into the game, more touches. Needs to cut down that error count. It's the sort of thing that Andy Farrell will be looking for. High completion rates.
A couple of Ulster changes in that pack of theirs. Jack McGrath replaced by Eric O'Sullivan. There he is, and Nick Timoney as well has come into the back row for Geordie Murphy.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
It's been another try at the stoop. Brian is poised. We'll go there shortly. Again.
Under the pressure, you change your angle, you set.
That's 4 now, so 2 on the bounce.
Yeah, because for us, the loose set, it was number 1 and I'm number 17. Change your angle under the pressure and turn around. Lose set. Yes, please, you can.
Tu connais ce mot? Faire ses appuis est à genoux, hein. Le gaucher.
D'accord. Merci, c'est
Brian, that score.
Yeah, another try for Quins. And one maybe a little bit against the run of play. Brett Heron in the backfield, little chip and chase. We know the way a rugby ball bounces horribly defensively. And in he goes. One score game again, 26-19.
For the time being, Claremont still ahead, but it remains tight. Ulster doing what they can do at the moment, but Bath still pressing. Underhill held on to by Herring. O'Sullivan doing what he could do as well. Brew looking menacing. Instead it went to Mike Williams, former Leicester man. Fox. And now Burns. O'Sullivan part of the tackling squad. Fox. Abano. Fascinating to see whether Benno Abano is in Eddie Jones' thoughts when that squad's named on Monday.
I think it has to be. It's unlucky for Bath. They've put a good series together. They've probed down that blind side really well. Ulster's defence forcing Freddie Burns to step inside again, but just when they needed just a bit of consistency, put Ulster under pressure physically. Little error.
Let's have a look at the top 12 in Europe at the moment as we try and work out who will finish in the all-important top 8 come tea time tomorrow. We know the 5 definite qualifiers with Q next to them, but everyone really from Ulster down to La Rochelle still with a bingo ticket, Brian.
Yeah, obviously a fantastic victory for Northampton. Looks as though they put them in great shape and take some sort of huge mathematical equation for Gloucester to gazump them, so they look as though they're in. From Ulster's perspective, all they think about is victory today and certain qualification.
And the scrum free kick cleared away by Stockdale Long. Homer. And he couldn't make the 10-metre line. Stopped as he was by Timoney. This is Tom Ellis. Fox still wheeling away. Bath have Chris Cook, the replacement scrum half, and here's Rob Balakoon, another who's had a very good game so far today. Oof. Stockdale has done as much kicking as running so far. That wasn't one of his better ones.
Hands off.
Kane puffs his cheeks out, holds on to possession. Cooney in no rush. Timoney wanders round to offer some protection. So too Henderson. And cleared away by Cooney. Brian, there are lots of us filling out our Six Nations Fantasy League sides at the moment, which is why I'm asking you all of these questions. So we know about Ireland's fullback. What about Ireland's starting 9?
Yeah, well, I think we're going to definitely see him in a 23. It's just a matter of will he have the number 9 jersey. I kind of change opinion every week. I feel as though it would be a big call for Andy Farrell to go with him, and maybe it's the right one, considering he's been the informed player not only in Ireland but possibly in Europe too, along with Fakatawa in France. So everyone up here is hopeful that they'll see him starting against Scotland.
Willison does well to gather that ball and then find Brew, who did just as well to hold on to it just outside the 22. Benno Urbano has been replaced by the Argentinian Lucas Nogueira, with Bath starting to throw a few more coals on the fire. Willison.
Quite high there.
McNally. Champions Cup debut against Ulster back in November, and that's fired forward.
Lost the ball forward, scrum right.
This is the Jackson Willison break. He's a wily runner, a sharp offloader as well.
He's had a really good game as well. Just the error too hard off the left shoulder when you're trying to set yourself for contact. Mike Williams.
He's actually run a good line, hasn't he? It's just come a bit hard at him, and as he's trying to pick the hole, just forgets to take the ball with him, but a little bit better from Bath.
Kieran Treadwell is coming on for Ulster, replacing Alan O'Connor. Treadwell from Quins country, brought up in Surrey, but here he is very much an adopted Ulsterman these days. And Chris Cook is on at scrum half for Ollie Fox. Max Green, incidentally, who started last Friday against Harlequins, only just back from a broken wrist, broke his leg, had an operation on Tuesday. There's Chris Cook, 11th season now in blue, black and white.
All good.
20 minutes to go, and Bath still very much on their feet.
Tie back on, please.
With nothing to play for in terms of quarter-final qualification, they have been roughing up Ulster at every possible opportunity today.
Not too far away. Thank you.
Both teams in this next 5 minutes will want to control the field position. Bath have been comfortable down here for a few minutes. Ulster need to get down the other end of the field, and if that means kicking the ball away to do it, I think you back that, and then you put pressure on Bath, who are going to start chasing the game the further it gets into this 20 minutes.
Cooney and Burns combining again. Marshall, chip over. Balakoon herring after this, but the ball was just a little bit too quick for all of them.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where if it stays in field of play, you've got a great kick chase. You've got Balakoon coming right on to Tom Homer. It's a bit of a run-pass scenario. When you suck them up, then you pop the ball in behind. If it does go into touch, you've still made a 40-50 metre gain. If it stays in field, you get that pressure on defensively. Balakoon's in a great position to latch on to Tom Homer and maybe turn over for a line out into the home side.
Batty's throw. Henderson up there. Could do nothing about that. And Cook, Freddie Burns,
17.
low and flat, and away to Stockdale, who might contemplate another kick. Not before another run, however, and then Gilroy to find Marshall, and that went forwards.
Lock on.
Makes the decision to go, tries to draw in the last defender.
It's fine, thank you. Go.
I feel as though Luke Marshall needs to work back a little bit more. He was preempting a kick from Stockdale rather than trying to work back hard to get onside, and could easily have been called a forward pass from Craig Gilroy. Fortunate for us to get the put in and the bat knock on, and good attacking place to come from just inside your own half, knowing that the open side winger from Bath has to hedge his bets a little bit. Opportunity of bringing your blindside winger around and creating that 6-on-4. Feels as though they're set up to play that territory game that you're talking about, though, Ben.
Massive scrum now, though. Bath gave away a free kick for going too early last time. That's secure from Ulster.
Cuts here to Cooney, and McCloskey releases Burns, who somehow tiptoes his way through, but the kick simply gives the ball back to Bath, and then Balakoon spills it.
Equally a nice attacking opportunity for Bath now. Burns runs into Underhill rather than the other way around there.
Balakoon actually does all the hard work. He gets himself into the position, just drops a fraction in front of him.
Keep walking, boys. Keep
That's
walking.
an annoying one. You know, you should be catching them, possibly
Left and left.
turning it into a counter-attacking opportunity, and now got to think defensive mindset.
Left, please. So.
Don't compound an error with another one. Good defensive set. Try to get that ball back.
Crouch!
Underhill scraping that ball back. Cook, Burns, Homer, Webb. This is Maguire. Cook under some pressure, Burns under even more pressure. Kieran Treadwell going through on Freddie Burns.
He's got to be careful, because I know what he's doing. He's trying to pull out. You don't want to hit someone afterwards, so he puts his arms in front of his body. The referee has realised what he's doing, but you tread such a fine line if you fly through and make contact with someone. You've got to wrap an arm around.
Time off, please.
They're having a look, I think.
You're going to see a penalty given here. Again, you see the wrap with the left arm. That's not good enough because the contact is made on that right hand side.
It's fine. The tackle, last tackle. He was connected, it's fine. But I need you use your arm, please, thank you.
There's a freebie.
Breaking play, by the way, because Ross Kane, who came on in the first half for the injured Tom O'Toole, has had his own battles to fight as well since coming on in the scrum.
Ah, yeah. Last scrum.
That's right, that's right. That's right.
Ouais, ouais. Il le touche, c'est le blanc qui le touche sur le contre. Donc il a tapé directement là-bas. Il y a Luc. Just.
Ross Batty.
Yann, c'est bien, c'est parfait. Just Yann.
Sam Nixon.
Yann.
Appeared fleetingly in the Premiership in Europe in the first half of the season.
He was touched by your player, and a team of 3 on field, we take the decision to line out. It's directly kicked by the 11. It's line out here. Ball was touch. Yeah, he's touch.
It's going to be the same result for Bath anyway. They're going to get a similar line out as if they'd been given the penalty. Ball was touched as it went through. And it's going to be a Bath throwing on Ulster's line.
C'est ma faute, Luc. C'est bien, Cédric.
So Ross Batty, Yules bustling his way to the front and then bringing it down, and Tom Ellis wrapping himself around. Ulster's defence being stretched to the max here, and Bath rolling it up to the line, over the line, and now on the ground. And it'll be the bearded hooker Ross Batty who comes up with it, and this still very much a live contest.
Yeah, it is, and this is an area of Bath's game that's been really good this season, as you'd expect under Stuart Hooper, who drove well against Claremont. And then really good setup. Here comes Alabru and Webb, which is what they do every time. Bring those two backs into the forwards, and they just managed to shear, dropping those left shoulders so they can lose those white shirts down the left-hand side, and then straighten up. And as soon as they got past those 3 or 4 Ulster shirts, there was only going to be one result.
Makes that conversion a big kick now too. See, wanting to get in with one strike.
About it now, it started left and drifted further left. Still a 4-point gap, still much too close for Ulster comfort.
Yeah, it's a big loss for Bath, that not going over, but they'll take huge and the amount of pleasure out of the fact that they've played in the right areas of field. They've got the result, and with Ross Kane complaining of an injury after the last scrum that was caused by the last scrum, I just think that Bath are going to try and turn the screw with that if they're playing in the right areas of the field.
Chris Cook did well there. sloppy from Bath, but cleaned up extremely well.
Sorry.
Billy Burns just about heading away with it.
18, move away.
And then his brother underneath it.
He's had a bit of practice of that this season, playing fullback.
Cook. Once more Balakoon having to head backwards to go forwards.
5.
Burns to Homer. McConaughey looking the most likely. And then Brooby on him, and McConaughey's kick swept up by Stockdale. He's had a lot of this work to do in this match, and he's done it brilliantly.
Great tackle from Homer.
Cooney to Burns, immediately head up. Balakoon the target. Found Marshall to his left. Here's Treadwell, and now goes Cooney into a little bit of space. A lot of work to do. He's now got support with Marshall and co. Picked up by Henderson, and Jackson Willison in an important position. Treadwell! The whistle's gone. If it's a try, it's a biggie. It'll be the bonus point score.
Well, he's gone back to the pass, isn't he? I think that could be the end of the decision. It was a bit of a pinball by the end.
Patrick, can you hear me? I would like to check a potential forward pass about Ulster between 589 or 995, I don't remember. Je veux que tu regardes, s'il te plaît. S'il n'y a pas la transmission de passe entre le 9 au sol, là, quand il y a plaquage dans les 22 mètres, entre le 5 et le 9.
This one here, isn't it?
Là, c'est bon pour moi.
C'est bon pour toi, le 19 et le 13 hein?
Oui, c'est bon pour moi. C'est là que je veux voir. Quand il va y avoir ce plaquage ici.
It's that one he wants to look at, isn't it? Has
Quand il y a la transmission entre
Henderson overrun
le 9
Cooney on the floor.
On va vérifier la portative. Attends.
Là, c'est ici, celle-là.
I've seen nothing clear and obvious so far.
That one's okay.
Ah, pourquoi elle est partie, celle-là? C'est celle-là que je veux voir. Faut pas qu'elle s'arrête.
It's the pass after that he wants to see, isn't it?
I would like to see the last pass between 9 Ulster and 5, please. I would like to stop the replay when the 9 pass the ball on number 5, please.
The other question might be what Henderson was up to when he was scrabbling for the ball on the floor after this.
This one now. Does Henderson run past Cooney before Cooney spots him? He looks like he throws that over his shoulder, which
Pour moi,
the way he's facing is forward.
À l'endroit où le 9 passe le ballon et à l'endroit où le 5 récupère le ballon, pour moi, il est devant lui.
Forward, that is forward, isn't it?
On va faire un arrêt sur image.
Pas cet angle, l'angle avant, qui était bon. Pas celui-là d'angle, on verra rien. L'angle avant. I would like
On va faire un arrêt sur image quand il a récupéré le ballon.
voilà, s'il te plaît.
Avec un plan large plan. 2 minutes.
Yes, stop.
That's forward.
Pour moi, l'image ici, là, quand il passe le ballon et quand le 5 le récupère, il est clairement devant lui.
Je suis d'accord avec toi, il est clairement devant.
C'est bon, anyone? Ok. Captain, please. Captain Yann. 5. Who's Yann?
The fact that he's calling Ian Henderson into the headmaster's study does not suggest this is good news for Ulster.
Just wait. I need a captain, not you player, please. Thank you. I need the only captain, please. On the last captain, please. On the last footage, when number 9 pass the ball, you pick the ball forward him, so it's forward pass, it's no try. I come back for scrum for pass. No try. Forward pass, scrum pass.
No try. And the bobble hats remain nervy bobble hats. It's still not cut and dried yet from an Ulster perspective.
No, it's not. I'm not entirely sure why he felt the need to bring both captains in. I thought someone was going to get a telling off. It was a simple forward pass and could have sped the game up. It was an opportunity for the players to take a little bit of a breather, reevaluate what they need to do from Bath's perspective. A good exit play, and again trying to get down into the Ulster territory, give themselves an opportunity for launching what's going to need at least a 5-pointer as things stand.
Well, it would have been a scrappy try for Kieran Treadwell, but my goodness, it would have been a big one. However, not just yet. Score from the stoop, by the way. Clermont leading by 26 points to 19. So it's not entirely done and dusted there either. I'll give you an as-it-stands table in a moment or two. Let's see what Bath do with this scrum. Defensive scrum. Running forward. Draws another penalty. It's been one of the big successes for Bath today, Ben. That scrum has been dominant.
Yeah, and importantly for them, when that man Sam Nixon's come on, replace Will Stewart, it hasn't affected how they've been scrummaging a couple of times this season. When they've taken Stewart and Abano off, it's not been as effective.
So let's have a look at pool 3. Here we go. Ulster still with just a little Q next to their name. Sorry, rather, Clermont still with a little Q. Ulster, 21 points. That would take them into the quarter-finals.
I think Clermont will be looking for Saracens to do them a favour tomorrow and beat Racing and possibly get that 4th home quarter-final slot.
Balakoon herring onto this and rather clattered Cooney out of the way to get there. Cooney back on his feet very quickly to chase this kick.
A decent kick. Just putting the pressure back on Ulster in their own 22. Few knock-ons occurring for the home side. That's only going to ratchet up the pressure on the players.
No.
10 minutes to go. Decent hustling from Nixon.
The prop is fine. Was fine.
Henderson just questioning it. You can see he's on the side, but because he's bound, he's legal. As soon as that comes out, he can break his bind and attack the 9. It's very, very tough on 9s to get the box kick away when it's wheeled round like that.
And now just one under immense pressure by Reedy. And that immense pressure was illegal. Penalty against Charlie Ewells.
And you block them all.
It's probably been one of Ulster's more unconvincing European performances so far this season, and one of Bath's best. And that's the reason. Just 4 points between them at the moment.
4-2.
A slightly higher error count from Ulster today than we've seen previously, but this one's all about grinding it out. They won't care what manner in which they win, provided they get the job done. Things still are in the balance over in the stoop with a minute to play.
Treadwell slaps it back. Nogueira was trying hard to get there, then the big hit. Penalty coming.
In trouble here. He took a big hit to the head. Referee straight in. Yes, she's given a penalty, but that's not going to be a pleasant replay to watch, so look away if you're squeamish. In fact, that's a red card. That is a red card.
It's Ross Batty and his left shoulder that will suddenly be scrutinised. Alex Ruiz does love to hold on to the ball when he's checking things on the big screen, and well, this is an important check.
Patrick, I would like to check a potential full play by 16 Bass on the last tackle on 9 Ulster, please.
Timo is Patrick Galat.
Oui, bien reçu.
It's tough on him because he almost... It's coming straight at him, but it's a red card.
I don't even know if it is tough on him, to be honest with you, Ben. Like, you look at Underhill, that's a high shot, you know. Yeah, he hasn't really bent his knees, he hasn't gotten his hips down. It's a high shot, and
there's no mitigating circumstances to drop it down from a red, which they would have started at anyway.
Ross Batty has had a lot of time to see John Cooney curling around into that position.
C'est pas ce qui fait tomber le porteur de balle. Le 16, il reste droit, il prend le risque de prendre un contact directement sur la tête.
In the meantime, that's the last we will see of John Cooney. You can hear the reaction to him here. Dave Shanahan's on.
Potential leading by 16 to the 9, or the 9 drive to the shoulder, please.
On te le repasse.
Merci. So, jamais le porteur de balle ne se baisse. Non, le défenseur se baisse, ne se baisse pas, le porteur de balle non plus se baisse pas.
Il ne se baisse pas, le porteur de balle.
Il prend un risque de rester debout à fabriquer un contact directement sur la tête, d'accord? Il ne change pas de centre de gravité le porteur de balle. Pour moi, c'est carton rouge.
Je suis d'accord avec toi.
Ok, très bien.
It's going to be a yellow.
Oui, c'est ça, c'est ça. 16, please. 16, please. Just listen, please, Mike. Captain, 16, please. Yeah, stay here, please.
You say carte jaune.
Just on the footage, from my view, you made the contact. You stay upright. You never change the distance between you and the ball carrier. So you made the contact, the shoulder directly around the neck area and the head. No. So from my view, listen. From my view, number 7 not made the contact first in before. For me, he did not make the contact. He take a risk to stay upright. For make the contact, direct the shoulder around the neck area and head. So it's a red card.
No, it is rouge. It is red for Ross Batty.
Yeah, it took us a while to get there, but ultimately we've got the right call. Referee Roos spelt it out in some broken English, but ultimately the crux of it, Ross Batty did not drop his hips enough.
It's about changing behaviours. That's what this big debate that we've been having for a while now is all about.
Exactly that. And the reason I said it's hard for Ross Batty, at 72 minutes, that's when you don't think quite clearly, and things, your reaction speed to realise I've got to drop, I've got to get into the right position, it's coming in, I'm going to make contact here, is a fraction of a second slower. And that fraction of a second is all it takes for you to get it wrong. It's like when you're under fatigue and you drop a ball because you don't quite get your body into the right position quickly enough. Exactly the same, but 100% the right call.
Billy Burns, first kick of the season, taking over from John Cooney. 100% so far. That feels like a very big moment. The Ross Batty try, swiftly followed by a Ross Batty red, and the Billy Burns points, and all of a sudden, a cushion for Ulster.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult for Bath now, isn't it, to find a way back from that. But it only takes a second to score a try. They just need to get the ball back. They have to make a replacement at some point, I think, to bring Jack Walker back on.
Sean Reid to Henderson. A little over 5 minutes to go for the likes of Dave Shanahan to manage their way into the last day. Reminder, it doesn't matter what happens elsewhere over the course of this weekend. An Ulster win, having won their first 4 games in the pool this season, an Ulster win will guarantee a place in the quarter-finals for them.
Just hear a scream from the Bath players telling their teammates not to commit too many to the breakdown. Having lost a player, can't afford to be putting 2 or 3 into counter-ruck. If you don't come up with a ball, leaves you short of defensive numbers.
Shanahan whips it away to Homer.
Away!
This is Ellis. Maguire. And then laid back by Burns and McNally, freeing up Homer, who finds Hamer Webb. And there's still a bit of ticker in this Bath side.
Coatsy in a great position. He's the one that managed to get the turnover. We've seen him a few times today, sniffing around rucks. You just saw the Bath player isolated, latched on. The referee didn't have to take too long to blow up a penalty. It's a clear picture to him, and welcome relief for Ulster.
Just to make sure that we have the bases covered, should Bath score a converted try here and it ends in a draw, then the 2 points for Ulster would still be enough, provided Saracens and Gloucester didn't both get bonus point wins against Racing and in Toulouse. So particularly for Gloucester and Toulouse to get a bonus point win really would be some achievement. So even a draw for Ulster in all probability going to be enough, but a win definitely. Line out, swept up by Treadwell.
Never change the bind, never change the bind, never change the bind.
Ellis has to release Shanahan.
It's a tackle! It's a tackle! It's a tackle now! And even on the way, it's a tackle. It's a tackle. All right, sir, excuse me.
O'Sullivan brought in, and also Treadwell. Hamer Webb takes on Ross Kane.
Ball out.
Cook grabbed by Treadwell. Underhill with Cook buried, the emergency scrum half. Tom Ellis. Ulster voices trying to carry their men into the quarterfinals.
Stay, please, sir. 5! Slide.
There's Gilroy and Reedy.
No, eyes away.
The warning.
You can second man or
Just desperation, isn't it?
Second man.
They know the game's slipping away from them. Need a turnover. Probably not 100% aware of what it looked like to the rest of us.
It's at that time where they got to take a few risks, and initially a good counter ruck tried to hedge his bets that the ball was going to be out. Referee saw it differently and correctly, and clear penalty to Ulster, and that's the game. That's the last opportunity you would imagine that Bath will have.
Time back on, please. Time back on.
Final 60 seconds. Rob Herring and co. so close now. So many of these players heading off to test duty at the end of this. Still a bit more work to do, however, particularly with Hamer Webb streaming away. Oh my goodness, he's up to halfway. Loose ball. Might still work for Bath. Not now. Marshall chasing after it. Burns going backwards. Remember, A draw for Ulster might be enough, but it wouldn't be certain. Bath playing for their own prizes, their own pride. So just seconds left now. Burns, McConaughey. Scored Bath's try in the first half. Yules. Burns. And Hamer Webb. And the 14 men still dig furiously in their own 22. Burns. Shanahan has it. Aled Brew came in quickly. It's in Ulster's hands now. And off Stockdale's boot into the terrace. Well, that was one of Bath's better European performances of late, but they have gone through an entire season without a single solitary win in the pool stages. It is still a grisly run for them, but once again, Ulster accents will be telling European stories in the quarter-finals. They've won, they've done what they needed to do by 22 points to 15.